Hey y'all, this is the Twin Rivers Music Scene podcast with your host Madison
and Reed. We're here to highlight local and upcoming musicians in and around New Braunfels, Texas.
We believe the Texas and Americana music scene is what truly makes this town special, and we are so excited to provide a platform for y'all to hear straight from the artists themselves.
We hope y'all enjoy the Twin Rivers Music Scene podcast and stay tuned for more interviews posted every other Friday.
No venue too far, any song at every bar, here to cover your needs. Twin Rivers Music Scene.
This next artist is a Texas-born singer-songwriter whose sound stretches far beyond traditional country music. Raised on the outskirts of Beaumont, he grew up immersed in the multicultural music landscape of Southeast Texas, where Cajun rhythms, Tex-Mex, honky-tonk, and Gulf Coast R&B swirl together. His musical journey began early, picking up guitar as a teenager and later turning a lifetime of poetic observation into songs that celebrate the humor and grit of everyday life. With a career built on the road, he shares stages with artists like Steve Earle, Midland, and Hayes Carll, and has crafted albums that feel right at home in roadhouses, dance halls, and long drives. Twin Rivers Music Scene welcomes Pug Johnson to the podcast.
Thank y'all for having me. That made me sound so cool.
I saw you looking at your watch.
Yeah, I feel cool now.
You are cool.
Mindy, you did a great job at booking me on this show.
Love
We're here to
it.
gas you up. We're here to make you feel good. This is your podcast.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, welcome to Riley's. You're actually playing here tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that going to be your first time playing here, or have you played this spot before?
It will be my first time to play here as a solo act. I played here for years when I was 17 through about 21, because back then we were coming from Beaumont, and so Angie and Joel would give us the
cottages over there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, there's still a lot of people that will come do that, and I think that's the perfect setup because you can hang out here, play your show, have fun, and then just stumble over there and spend the night.
We had a lot of wild nights.
Yeah.
Yes, in that house.
So yeah. Any shareable stories that you want to?
I mean, no.
I don't want
no.
to share them.
No, I got my wife sitting over here.
That's so funny.
No, just teenage boys.
Yeah.
That were too big for their britches type of thing.
Up to no good.
Yeah.
That's so
boozed
fun.
up.
So if you said it was your first solo act tonight, were you in a different band back then?
Yes.
Okay.
I had started a band with some guys that I went to high school with when I was 16 when we started it, called Slow Rollin' Lows.
Okay, I like that.
Named after a Billy Joe Shaver tune. And yeah, we played all over Texas until I graduated from college in 2011. And then by that point, I was the last original member. Mm-hmm. And the other guys that were in the band with me had gone to the music program in Port Arthur, and several of our buddies that had already graduated moved to Nashville. And so when we graduated, it was kind of a toss-up, are we going to go to Austin or are we going to go to Nashville? They wanted to go to Nashville, and so I said, well, hell, let's go to Nashville then. And so I went up there for 2 years, moved back home in 2014, and went back to school there for a bit. I was like, man, this songwriting thing wasn't really working out. Nobody's buying what I'm writing up there. So I thought if I went back to school, studied writing, maybe got a little bit of business training in there, that I would be better served to go back, prosper at it, but wound up in Beaumont. I was doing really good in school, and then cocaine happened.
Nice.
I started taking gigs. I wasn't trying to actively book at all, and then the local talent buyer that would book the shows for most of the venues just kind of reached. She was like, "Hey, I heard you're back in town. Do you want to take a gig here?" And I started taking more and more gigs, and then I started partying more and more, and I was about to ruin my 4.0, and so I dropped the program with the intention that I would go back, and I never went back. I just kept playing gigs, and then I met Mindy, and
Everything made sense.
and she told me I couldn't party like that anymore. So I had to get my shit together, and it's been on the rise ever since.
Love that.
So
Love that.
thank you.
Mindy's sitting over there smiling and nodding. So
That's so cute. Well, you have like a great name, Pug Johnson. Is that your real name, or did your mom just know that you're gonna be a star and just named you like Pug Johnson? Like, I've got to know.
So my dad gave me that name the day I was born. It's not what's on my driver's license.
Okay.
Real name is Calvin, named after my dad's dad. But my family has called me Pug ever since I was a baby.
Okay.
And so when I was 16 and I started playing out, that was the year that both of my grandparents passed away. And so it was kind of a little like, I was like, well, shit, man, I've got this thing that they called me. I was missing them. I was like, I'm going to go by Pug. That, it's a good name. Nobody else has it. And there's plenty of Calvin, Johnsons out there. There's a really, really famous wide receiver. So I'm glad I made the switch.
yes, not to be mistaken.
Yeah. It's great for SEO, like Google purposes,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, people will be like, "Hey, will you send me your website?" I'm like, just Google Pug Johnson. I'm the only one.
Yeah, it'll pop right up. So, okay, you're from Beaumont. I'm from kind of that area in Houston, Friendswood, League City, all that. So I don't make it out to Beaumont often, but for our listeners who don't either, what is something about Beaumont that people would be very surprised to know about for that city? Because I know it has the reputation, it has Lamar University there, correct? And then isn't it like a very oil town?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What is it like growing up there or being there?
I mean, yeah, oil town. Spindletop was there. I think that was like 1901 or something like that. I think it was the first oil boom in Texas, but it was definitely the biggest. And now I don't think there's as much like pumping going on down there. Now it's all the downstream at the plants and refineries, which is how I met Mindy. Mindy had moved to Beaumont from Houston because she was working for Exxon at the time. And so, yeah, I mean, growing up down there, it was like you're either going to go to work in the plant or you're going to figure out something else that's probably going to take you out of town. Because I mean, most of the kids I went to high school with that went to college, they still wound up going to work in the plants. And my old man had always told me, he was like, buddy, I don't want you doing that. He wanted me to go to school, and get an education to where I didn't have to work as hard as he did. And when I told him I wanted to be a songwriter, he said that wasn't exactly what I was talking about.
I was like waiting for that. I was like, oof.
Dad told me, he said, buddy, you are setting yourself up for a hard kind of life.
But
and
rewarding.
he said, but if that's what you want to do, then you should do it well.
Yeah.
I
So
said, yes, sir.
when did you make that decision that you wanted to do songwriting, since it sounds like it was kind of foreign from like...
I was 13, I think.
Okay.
I went to visit my aunt and my uncle. I went and stayed with them for a week. They lived in Dallas area. And it was on that trip that I was already a big Waylon fan. I was huge, the world's biggest 13-year-old Waylon fan. And my uncle, come to find out, he was a music buff, and like he was into the Texas music scene like well before it had blown up to what like we grew up with, you know. And so he was like, well, hey, if you're into Waylon, you know, have you ever heard of this guy or this guy, you know? And he's the one who introduced me to Billy Joe. And they took me out to Love and War in Texas, in Plano, and I got to watch a little band play, and you know, the smell of barbecue and beer and like the music and everything, and I just fell in love with it, and I was like, I want to do this thing, and that's, you know,
and here we are today.
Yep, that's all it's been. That's all it's been. Every other thing I have done has been trying to make that dream, you know, actually come true.
Yeah.
And we're still trying.
Well, it's like y'all were talking about a little bit off camera how when you maybe, I don't know if it was exactly when you started your solo, but how y'all are trying to kind of come back in the Texas regional instead of the United States in general, it seems like. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and like y'all's process and thought process behind it all?
So yeah, when we put out or when we made the last album, the president of 30 Tigers, so we're signed with a boutique called Break Maiden, and they distribute through 30 Tigers, which by proxy makes me a 30 Tigers artist.
Yeah.
So we had made the album, but then we had to sit on it for a year because the president wanted me to be signed with a national talent agency, and so we went through the whole process of, you know, we had to go to Nashville and do a showcase. Then we had to go back, you know, a month or two after that and go to meetings and stuff like that, and worked out. You know, we signed with UTA, and that's how we wound up, you know, getting all the gigs with, you know, with Clint Black and Midland and stuff. But they were spread out. They were all over the country, and you know, as far as we were concerned, we thought the strategy was to focus me, you
Texas.
know, yeah, because for the years that I was in Beaumont playing, I never left. I just stayed in Beaumont. So like I have a decent little following in Beaumont, but the rest of the state doesn't know who I am at all. So yeah, we're trying to get in there, but we got signed with those guys, and they were booking me at stuff that, you know, was getting me in front of big crowds, but not the location I needed to be at. But then they also couldn't, like, they were too big to get me into the venues that like I needed to be playing, you know, around here. Places like Riley's and, you know, and Green Hall, and so yeah, so now we're doing a bit of a reset. You know, we've since parted ways with them, you know, ended on good terms. It was like, hey, I think like
Two different visions.
Mindy and I were it's that I think we weren't ready yet.
Well, I'm sure that's like really hard to like keep traveling and like going all over the country too, of like touring.
I think it's
It's
really
expensive.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because we were also talking before off camera that it's kind of flip-flop from what you typically hear in the music space. Like, people will play the Texas circuit forever and then are really, really trying to get into like the national scene. But you had it like reversed. So I think that's really cool that y'all are able to be like, yeah, I've played these huge stages with artists like Midland, but I really need to come back to my state and like grow my following here. Because you could easily just keep following that strategy and be like, I'm putting myself in front of all these people, but my real goal is to like have a good solid following that's listening to my albums when I put it out, following me on social media, engaging. So I think that's a really cool perspective that y'all have, and getting to do it a little backwards.
Yeah, because when we talk to artists, a lot of people say that, like how we talk about the college scene a lot, and how the college like music scene has kind of like dwindled off because everybody's missing that step and kind of just jumping through social media or whatever it is, and everybody's touring. So it is cool to Reed's point.
And I'm like the worst at the social media thing.
That's
we
a
just
common
recently,
trend, I feel
Yeah,
like,
it's
too.
such a common trend.
Yeah.
we just recently hired one of our friends from Studios at Fisher to run our and it's which is great now because now I only get on, check my notifications once a day. Is there anything that I need to respond to, and then I'm off of it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And life is better that way.
Yeah, off your phone, just living in the real world.
Yeah, when you're not just sitting there scrolling
Yes.
constantly, like, it's you find other things to do with your time that are more productive, that don't leave you with a scowl.
Yeah,
you know?
true. Our human experience now, having to like detach from our phone at all costs.
Yeah.
Okay, so for listeners who maybe haven't heard your music yet, I know Madison did a great job describing your sound in your intro, but I think also it
Really
still
great.
can't even be narrowed down to what even she just said. Where are you pulling influences from? Because I hear Cajun, I hear a little bit of like Tejano vibes when I listen to your music. How are you blending all of these influences together, and where are they coming from?
I mean, it's what I grew up with. My dad and my grandpa, it was classic country and stuff like that. And then, when I got into college, I realized like how much I loved, blues and Dixieland jazz. We had a really cool guy that was the head of the music program that I went to, and he was my music history. I think it was like the history of the music business or pop music, and it was a required class for us, and I was like, all right, this would be cool. Well, he wound up, he showed us the first episode of the Ken Burns jazz, documentary, which is all about, that first episode is all about like the birth of jazz down in New Orleans. And I like fell in love with it. I was like, this is the coolest shit. And there's just kind of something about that, like the rhythm and the swing of it and the way the horns kind of moan out. And I was like, man, that's great. Well, I was always kind of thinking, I was like, I'd really like to do that thing. Well, if you start digging into old Merle and Willie, they've already done that. Like they've already pulled those influences in there. And, I would, back home in Beaumont, I had a guy that played trombone in my band. And I would hear people be like, oh, I've never heard trombone in a country band. It's like, well, it's because you haven't listened enough.
You're like, you don't even know what country is, okay?
It's been in there for a while.
That's so funny. That's cool, though, that you kind of got that interest or spark and kind of like pulled it all together from like the school, the class of the jazz, and then kind of how you grew up with like the classic country and the Waylands and all that stuff. So that's cool. In your songs, I've realized that they're a lot of character driven. Are these made up people, personal experiences, kind of all over?
It's a bit of both.
Okay.
Definitely, I'm a student of the Billy Joe method, which is write about your life, but I'm also not above stretching the truth a little bit, or hey, let's not let the truth get in the way of a good story here. Let's make this a little better.
Right.
But like with the last album, the El Cabron character, that's kind of a blend of Hunter Thompson and Gus McCrae and myself a little bit, and it's this kind of thing that it's like, well, there's this other side of me that if I was a total hellion, this is what I would be like, but I got to pull it back a little bit,
like a little alter ego diving in kind of thing. So with your songwriting being kind of story driven, character driven, whether like you said personal experiences are a little stretch to the truth, you do a really good job of also mixing like humor and heartbreak into them as well in a very lighthearted way. How do you use humor? And then like your song that you said, the cat house got me in the dog house again. I was listening to that on the way here, and I loved that. I just think little phrases like that are so fun. How do you tie that into all of your music?
Well, that one I didn't actually write. That's an old Johnny Paycheck tune.
Yeah.
But I mean that kind of does answer the question is like back in the day those guys wrote a lot of silly stuff. Guys like Roger Miller, Shel Silverstein, and Bobby Bear, like they had these just silly ass tunes that were great, and so me and my dad would always we love those tunes, and so that's been a thing that I just kind of naturally pulled in, and my grandpa as well. I remember back when I was a baby, and he would sing the silliest shit. These like
just crazy songs.
Yeah, and there was always at least a cuss word or two, and so he would say them to me, and I would just laugh and laugh. Papa, tell me that one again. Tell me the one about the crane again. And he would just have these little poems and stuff, and it really kind of came out when I had moved to Nashville and was working at Kroger, and I'd be back there cutting fruit with a hangover, and
I thought you said hanger for a second. I'm like, why are you using a hanger?
But so I'd just be back there working, and it's it would eventually become kind of mindless work, which is great for songwriting. If you can have a task that you don't really enjoy doing, but you can do it kind of mindlessly, it's great to just kind of let the mind run, and and then you start to come up with little silly shit like I tipped a stripper with a buffalo coin. And you're like, nobody in their right mind would write that song, and then you stop and you go, yeah, let's write that song. And,
but those make the best songs, to your point, and they make like the most memorable songs. Like just like you said, like you still remember like you and your papa, which is cute. That's what my dad is called for our nieces and nephews. But I think those are what makes the song stand out and makes it different, because it's so outlandish and it's so fun. And I think it's great that you're putting that aspect back into country, into your music.
Well, thank you. Yeah, they called it back in the day. I think they called it hokum.
Hokum
was the country term for writing a silly tune, or
I love it.
Yeah,
hokum.
You're bringing hokum back.
That's right.
So you've toured a lot outside of Texas, like we mentioned, Clint Black, Robert Earl Keen, Midland. What has been your favorite tour that you've been on, or just a memorable experience?
Well, the California run that we did with Midland was pretty fun. Got some funny stories that I'll tell the one on Jonathan. So we flew the band out, and Mindy and I drove, and we flew the band out, and the drummer and my lead player flew in with each other, and they went to get in to an Uber, and the drummer had called for the car, and so it's on his account, and the guitar player gets in and he's talking to the Uber driver. He's like, hey man, how you like it over here in California? Gavin Newsom sure sucks, huh? And and the drummer's like, well, you shut up.
He's like, it's on mine.
He's like, dude, you're gonna like
get him blackballed.
Ruin my rating here. Like, what do you? Shut up.
What did the Uber driver say anything? Was he just like these people?
So funny.
No, he wasn't even from there. He was a foreigner, and so he's like,
he's probably like, who are you even talking about?
And Chris, the drummer, he like has the setting where he's like, don't talk to me, and so.
Is that a setting on Uber?
Yeah.
You can say like, do not speak to me.
Or yeah, like I don't really want to talk.
That's funny.
It's genius, honestly.
And so yeah, the drummer had it set. He was like, yeah, don't talk to me. And then Jonathan comes along. Hey man, what's going on? Gavin Newsom sure sucks, huh?
That's hilarious.
do,
He's like, dude,
man.
I thought you weren't going to say a word, and now you're saying all this political stuff.
Yeah, he's like, do I respond? I'm not supposed to talk according to the Uber app.
So yeah, so we ragged him pretty hard on that trip for that. We're like, what is wrong with you, dude?
That's so funny.
So when you play full band, how many guys are in your band? Because I hear a lot of, like, you said you use trumpet in it, correct? So how many guys are on stage with you?
Right now, I'm only playing with 3 other guys.
Okay.
I would love to have a full 4 or 5 piece horn section and pedal steel and keys with me. But we're just not drawing that well yet. I just I can't afford that. But when I go to make a record, it's my philosophy is like, well, hey, this thing is gonna live, and so I really want to like make it the way that I heard it in my head, or better than what I heard in my head when I wrote this thing. And then eventually I'll be able to do this, on stage.
When you're in the studio, like, what was the most amount of instruments you had on a song? Because it sounds very, like, full and big. And so I imagine there was probably, like, 6 or 7 of y'all on a record or on a track.
Yeah, let me see. It would have been on the last album for sure because we, actually had the budget to afford it. Probably Believer. Maybe, because I know we had keys on that, as well as we had 3 or 4 horns on it.
I love the horns. It's so cool.
I think we had Paul Deemer, who played trumpet and trombone on Kill Tony for a while. I don't know if y'all
cool.
watch
Yeah.
Kill Tony.
That's really cool.
And it was rad because there was a certain horn bend that he would do, like playing on Kill Tony, and when he was in the studio tracking Believer, like he kind of hit that bend, and I was like, that's that Deemer like bend thing. I was like, oh, that's rad. That's on my song now. That's so cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
But Deemer came and did the trumpet and trombone parts, and he kind of wrote that and came up with it and did it in a way to where we sent it off to Barry sax and a tenor sax player, maybe alto sax, I forget, but those guys were like, oh yeah, we know Paul, and we sent them the tracks, and they're like, yeah, man, he like they knew exactly what to do based on what he had played. And which is like amazing to me. It's dudes that play horns that are trained like that are just like next level.
Like in the music
musicians.
theories like side of it, I feel like because we've been at the studio with some of our friends that are recording, and her and I are not musically inclined ourselves, so it's really fascinating to watch, like, people just come in for a day, they hear a track, and they're like, okay, I'm going to play it this way, and it fits in so perfectly. And so the way that people's brains work like that is so fascinating to me.
Yeah, studio musicians. I can't speak. I almost said magicians, but they
Studio
are honestly
magicians.
magicians.
Yeah.
Because studio
Right.
musicians are magicians because it's so crazy how their brain works.
Yeah.
So your latest album, it's been about a year, right? Or is it almost a
You
year?
released it March of last year, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Perfect. What songs or tracks on the album really resonate with you and that you still love to play and that mean the most to you on that album?
I love them all. I do. Years ago, I heard a quote from Waylon that had said, never put out a song that you're not prepared to sing for the rest of your life. And I was like, all right, cool. And it was a lesson that I learned firsthand, with the first band, like, 'cause there's a bunch of songs that I wrote when I was a teenager that I don't want to sing anymore.
You've outgrown them.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this sounds like a kid wrote them, and now I'm a big boy.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sing those, but I'm sorry. What was the question? I got off
The
track.
songs from is it El Cabron?
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
good at Spanish.
Cabron.
Cabron. I was literally trying to practice it on
Cabron?
the way here. I was like,
I'm
I
from San
cannot speak
Antonio. I
Spanish.
know.
Yes.
Just songs on that album that resonate with me the most
Okay,
too.
yes. Definitely Believer. You know, that's when I wrote for Mindy. That's kind of about
Sweet.
our first couple of years with each other down in Beaumont. And that was one that, like, it's a, you know, it stands out, you know, on the record because it's, you know, it's a bit of a shift. It's more of like kind of a soul tune, and nothing else on the record really like hits that vein quite like that. But I mean, I feel like, you know, from being down in Beaumont, it fits. If we were in a backyard party in Beaumont, that album would make perfect sense, you know, in the party playlist. You know, nobody would be like, what is it?
Yeah.
Like, what are you playing? I'd be like, this is our vibe.
We're like, no,
yeah.
this all fits.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say your music is, I feel like, really versatile in that sense. Like, I feel like it can be played everywhere, and I feel like that's very unique about your sound.
Well, thank you.
So you're getting ready to go on the road with Clint Black in March, correct?
Yes.
End of March.
Yeah. Right. March. Yes.
So when you're going onto the road, what are some necessities that you cannot leave the house without?
A steamer.
Okay, that's
Ooh,
good.
a good one.
Got to have a steamer.
What kind of food is like your go-to on the road if you're in a hurry?
Like road trip snacks.
Whatever's cheap, or you know, preferably whatever's free. But
Yeah. Whatever's in
no,
the green room.
we you know, we eat out of truck stops a lot. You know, Pilot, and you know,
Like the TAs or QTs.
yep, TA.
I love a good QT.
Yep.
They have like a full
Yep,
coffee
QT,
bar
it
in there.
works.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this
Absolutely.
is fancy in here.
If you could like put together a truck stop meal, what would you put together? Like drink, food, and dessert.
Oh,
What's your
wow.
go-to?
I'm probably gonna go for a water, maybe a coconut water if I'm trying to hydrate, because, you know, we drank a little hard the night before or
Yeah.
something like that. And it's like, all right, I gotta try to. Probably like the Love's tacos or something. That's one I wound up getting quite a bit, and they're not great, but they work.
They
you
do the
know.
job.
Yeah, it's Mindy and I do the thing where, like, we try to eat well at home because we know it's all going to shit when we get out on the road.
Balance.
Bree Bagwell said that. She was like, I really try to do well when I'm home, because as soon as I get on that bus, it goes downhill.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's like, all right, well, we're gonna eat burgers and chicken sandwiches for a few days, and all right, so when we get back home, let's have a salad. Let's grill some chicken or something.
That's funny. Are you a dessert guy?
I am.
What would you choose?
I have a sweet tooth. I love ice cream.
Ooh, I love it. What flavor?
You know, Bluebell.
Okay.
just
like
in,
the vanilla?
Texas
Just in
go-to.
general.
Okay.
No, I mean cookies and cream.
Okay.
Pecan,
Oh, geez.
pralines and cream, Bluebell's Southern Blackberry Cobbler is one of the greatest ice creams that's ever been made.
Really?
It's so good, but it's just a seasonal thing.
Probably
What
the summertime.
season?
So
I
you
don't
can
know
only
what
find
season.
it
Yeah.
every once in a while, and I think you can only get it in the half gallon.
Okay.
But if I buy a pint of Bluebell, like, I throw the lid away.
Yeah, Mindy
That
will not
way.
have any of that.
Well, you throw it away because you're gonna like eat it all in that one
Yes.
sitting. Yeah.
Like I'm gonna clear this
There's no
this
putting it
pint
back in the freezer.
in 10 minutes.
Yeah. That's funny. So I envision a Bluebell Pug Johnson sponsorship of some kind. So get
Let's
your flavor
manifest.
idea ready.
That would be
badass.
awesome. I would
That'd
be
be
very
super
happy
cool.
for
The
that.
flavor of Beaumont, Texas. Put
Yes.
together that or something. Or Canyon,
go.
because you live in Canyon Lake now. We haven't touched on that yet. So that's cool that we're all in the hill country together now and everything. I wanted to ask you, when you're out at the bars after a show, are you an Irish goodbye guy, or are you going to stay till the bar closes down? What's your vibe?
I don't know. I've done both. Like I've definitely done both. Just kind of like, all right, I'm tired of it. And walk out. But I will absolutely close a bar down with you.
Situational.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like a good dive bar? Like
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Is that kind of like y'all scene? Do y'all like to go in the dive bars or?
Well, I mean, it's just.
Or do you like to dance?
Well, Mindy loves to dance. I do not. I am not a dancer in public. I dance a lot alone in private.
Okay, you know what? That's fine. What's that saying? Dance like no one's watching.
Exactly. Exactly. So I make sure that nobody's watching.
That's funny. So what's next for you? Are you recording, writing, anything, or just kind of focusing on booking gigs right now?
So the reason I felt so inclined to have a Bloody Mary and a beer at 10 o'clock in the morning is because I'm kind of celebrating, because last night I was up late and we were putting the final touches on a video project that my roommate, or our roommate, and I have been working on. So we're trying to make a new album. And we're kicking off a Kickstarter campaign next week.
Awesome. To
try to finance,
yeah,
this thing. And I forget exactly how the idea came around, but it was Mindy and me and Peyton, and we were talking about, like, how are we going to kick this thing off? And we decided that we were going to do a telethon. And I don't know if y'all have ever even heard of a telethon.
Yes, I like that it's kind of, you're bringing it back, because
yes.
I haven't heard of anyone
doing
doing
them recently. This is like the theme of you. You're just like bringing everything back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what people do. Everything's already been done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really, it's just, when was the last time it was done?
Yeah.
You got to remind people, oh, well, no, hey, there's this cool old shit that, like...
We're bringing back.
Yeah, we forgot about. But so we have filmed a telethon. It's Pug Johnson's down home solid country gold heartbreak telethon.
I love this
because the next album is very it is a heartbreak album. I wrote the tunes for it already, so I'm I had those ready to go, but it's very much a classic country heartbreak album that's going to sound kind of like 80s Haggard and 70s Jerry Lee with a little bit of Cajun in there. And so, yeah, we have filmed a telethon that has some plot twists and everything, and that will premiere on Thursday the 12th on YouTube, right? I'm getting all this right?
All the stats.
All right, so that will premiere. So I've been, for the past 2 weeks or so, I've been in front of a computer screen with Peyton trying to edit this thing and put it, and it just keeps growing. Mm-hmm. And so last night we were putting the final touches on it. The runtime is right at 50 minutes, which is short for a telethon. Those things used to run for like 8 hours or so. But yeah, we're pulling it back. There's actual phone, numbers throughout the thing that other people can call, and there will be.
This is such a good idea. I'm so excited.
There will be little voicemails, but it's all trying to drive people to
raise money
to the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
and then we have Tears. The album, the working title is From a Beaumont bar.
That's cool.
Because that's where I went through most of my heartache was in a Beaumont bar.
I love it.
And so yeah, it's a bit of a nod to a nod to Beaumont, bit of a tip of the hat to all the girls I've loved,
that
before.
led you to Mindy.
Exactly.
Yes. All the girls you've loved before.
Mindy had been on my ass since we put out the last album about, hey, you need to be writing. Hey, you should really be writing. Hey, you should really be writing some songs.
Yeah.
I was like, so finally I got tired of her griping at me about it. And so So I sat down and wrote some songs, and
So we have Mindy to thank for this.
always everything involved with me. You have that woman to thank for it.
So true.
You also have her to blame as well. If you don't like this, it's all her fault.
So funny.
Well, we're really excited to see that. I think that's such an amazing concept, and I've not heard of anyone else doing something similar. So that's February 12th, correct? That
Yes,
it's coming
ma'am.
out? Okay, cool. We'll be sure to share it on our
Yes.
Instagram and
Well,
everything.
thank y'all.
Of course. So speaking of social media, where can people follow you on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the things, and what is your website name?
The website is Pug Johnson .com.
First thing on Google search whenever
Yes,
you type
ma'am.
it in. Yeah.
And then I think my Instagram is at pug.johnson. And then TikTok is something.
Something Pug Johnson.
Yeah,
Just look
pretty,
for the blue check
pretty
mark.
similar. I'm only on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Okay.
And if you see posts on there, I didn't post them, but I will answer you if you comment something worth answering.
You are talking to the real Pug Johnson on there.
That's
if
right.
you comment. Yes.
Yeah,
So
if
funny.
you, Mindy and Mindy and our friend Ingrid, who runs our,
Social media.
platforms and everything. They'll let me know if I missed, a message or something. That they're like, hey, I think you should. Oh, sweet. All right, cool. I'm on.
And then you also, I was looking at your website earlier. You have, what is it called whenever you subscribe to it? What's the name of
A
it?
newsletter.
It's not a newsletter, but you have
Patreon.
Yes, Patreon.
Yeah.
Can you explain how people can sign up for that too?
I cannot.
Just go to
Yeah, just go to
patreon.com
Patreon.
and sign
Pug
up.
Johnson. You look for Pug Johnson.
And any updates
and
that
it's
you
there.
make, it'll come to them directly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
Alrighty, well, thank you so
Hey,
much for
thank
sitting
y'all.
down and talking with us. We're excited for your show at Riley's tonight, except obviously this isn't going to air today, so don't show up at Riley's to come see Pug if you're listening to this now.
Well, thank y'all very much. It's been a pleasure and it's an honor to be included. So
Thank you. It
Thank
was
you.
fun. We had a
Well, we're
great
big
time.
fans of you, so.
thank you, ma'am.
And again, this has been the Twin Rivers Music Scene Podcast with your hosts, Madison and Reed, and our guest, Pug Johnson, a.k.a. Calvin. I'm just kidding.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
No venue too far, any song at every bar. Here to cover your needs. Twin Rivers Music